Hey, hello. Thanks a lot, Frank, for getting on the Web3 Wisdom Podcast. It's a pleasure having you on the pod. And please introduce yourself to the lovely bitsCrunch community.
Sure. Thank you, VJ. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Frank. I am the creator and co-founder of Apeiron. Well, my background isn't actually from game development, unlike much of my team. My background is actually in management consulting and private equity. But I really love games, and it's my dream to create my own perfect game, and Apeiron is that game. Yeah.
Great. Great to know that. I would love to know the journey from how you founded the Funi Magus and then Apeiron. Could you please walk us through how you started in Web2 space, like most other founders in the space, and then came into Web3, which is where you are right now? Could you please walk us through that wonderful journey?
Sure thing. So, well, as I said, my background was in management consulting and private equity, but I've loved playing games all my life. And upon 8 years ago, I decided to pursue my dream. Back then, I decided I wanted to create my game, and so I've been searching for like a team in Asia to help me develop a very unique game. I don't want to create just any other game because gaming is a very tough industry, and there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of existing giants, and there's a lot of new studios rising up in China and in Southeast Asia, even 8 years ago. So the thing that we really wanted to do was to create something unique and something original from a gameplay perspective, from a story perspective, and artwork perspective. That's why actually it took a lot of years for us to prototype a lot of different designs. Originally, we were just thinking about creating a mobile game. Back then, the mobile gaming business was already on the surge and on the rise. So it's from the start, we were trying to find some unique genre, unique angle to go for in Web 2. But it was only 3.5 to 4 years ago that we decided to move from a mobile game to incorporate blockchain elements because we saw and we experienced the rise of Axie Infinity quite early. And we think it was an incredible model, the one that they introduced the token and NFT breeding, the distribution of NFTs, the usage of the two tokens, and then economy was all very novel and interesting. We really think there's something great to it. And we studied whether Apeiron could become a blockchain game with all the unique gameplay elements and story and the extra application of Web3. We think actually it's a great fit, especially for indie developers like us, finding funding, finding a unique new audience, being able to publish ourselves. It's all very well, there's a great synergy, I think, that's behind that. So we spent almost half a year to remodel what we had on hand and integrate the blockchain elements into Apeiron, which is already a giant. And then we decided to finally find a chain, find some investors, and get to the full production of Apeiron. And it's been a fun and very, very exciting 3 years since our fundraising and pivot to blockchain, and finally our game is ready now. And it's very, very exciting time for our team that grew from 30 to 80 full-time developers nowadays to present to the world what Apeiron will be.
Nice. I mean, you have had a wonderful launch recently. Your growth projection is wonderful. And just to talk more about the game, it's actually the first play and earn God game, right? And it was earlier developed on Polygon, now moved into Ronin chain. For a layman, let's say for a newbie who doesn't even know what is blockchain, what is a game, how do you explain Apeiron to a layman? Put it in simple words for the community.
Would be a game that lets you play God. That would be the simplest explanation I have for Apeiron. At the core, it's it's a very unique genre that was quite popular back in the days, but you don't see a lot of these type of games out there nowadays. It's quite a unique genre and ability for a person to experience what it's like to nurture their own planets, to have the ability to really play God, and also experience a lot of unique gameplay elements is what Apeiron is about. It's a game that lets you try something absolutely new, not just from a Web3 perspective, but also from a Web2 perspective. And right now, because Apeiron incorporates almost 3 unique gameplay elements. There's the battle, there's the god game simulation, and then there's also an entire roguelike gameplay into it. And the arena and the roguelike will be coming out. So it's always very tough for me to explain Apeiron in the simplest way, but that is probably the best I can say right now.
But trust me, I mean, you have done a good job here. As a creator, you always go an extra mile in explaining your gameplay, right? So you have done a good job here. But one thing that I really liked about your journey is the way you have raised funds, right? Not a lot of creators, not a lot of founders have that knack of raising funds from really good investors. So you have some really good names on the cap table. You have raised over 15, I assume it is $18 million till date. Could you please walk us through that, and what are the notable investors you have on the cap table?
Yeah, quite a story. We actually raised over 28 million now. Initially, we raised quite luckily right before Luna, so at the end of the bull run and then the last cycle, and we raised at quite a high valuation. Our very first round was 50 million. But compared to a lot of other projects out there back then, we were not just pitching with a trailer or a white paper. We were actually pitching with a prototypes and playable games. So it's quite a different race. Initially, we started with Zombie Club, one of my friends from college. That also ventured in the Web3 territory. It is via them that they introduced to us the YGG and FEC crowds, who are our very first bigger investors, and then it is they who introduced us to a lot of new investors and other guys, leading ultimately to our lead hashed, and also to probably almost all the biggest gaming guilds out there. And Apeiron is lucky to have met these guilds during those times, and we were probably most of these guilds' biggest investments. And to this day, these guilds, whether they are still remaining a gaming guild or turning into an acquisition platform or a chain, they are all still here and quite active. Those were the days of the pre-seed and seed rounds. After Luna, we still fundraised. We minted our initial planets and our initial batch of lands. And then it was mostly a time of building and development. There was only, of course, the next phase of fundraising, which involves another 12 million, is after or during the discovery or migration to the Ronin chain. We were always on the search of a good partner, and we started on Polygon, but as we wanted to look for more marketing support and more dedicated support from the chain, we migrated to Ronin. That's where we found not just all these, but also an incredible community that helps support these new projects and participate actively into the ecosystem. From there, we got a lot of funding from SkyMavis. And as we entered the token launch, a lot of new partners came along the way. And then we hosted the community round that we allowed our asset holders to invest before the token launch, and also the Ronin community. That garnered quite a bit of funding, and it led straight to the token launch. The token launch, we didn't fundraise much because we were trying to do is to experiment what it is like for the tokens to be out. And then there's also a lot of unlocks to handle. But right now, a lot of that is out of the way, and we are straight going towards the game launch path. So it's been quite a journey, but being from the private equity world, I'm still amazed at what the blockchain is capable of doing, especially in fundraising, and then seeing how fast money can move over here never ceases to amaze me. And but yes, that also entails a lot more responsibility and transparency with our investors, our community, and uh, still learning every day, and then trying to do what I can to maintain that bridge between our investors and our company, the project.
Yep. Great team. I mean, great creator in the first place. The one who is doing pod even in the midnight, right? The time that you're doing this pod, agreed to do this pod is a midnight. That shows the commitment from the creator himself, right? So when we can expect the launch? I mean, when you say launch, when is that lucrative date, or let's say frame? Can you give some alphas for the bitsCrunch community?
Yeah, so the game went through two betas. The first beta is the roguelike dungeon, which is a very early version of our game. After that, we released the Arena, which is the PvP version of the game, utilizing a lot of the actual NFTs, the skills, and hosting tournaments, which we are doing right now. But all of these test phases are close to an end. The official launch was just coming, but my co-founder insists that I cannot reveal the date. Sure, will be coming in very short time, within the quarter, I'd say. And it will be, this launch will incorporate the previous single player dungeon together with this arena, and there's going to be a whole story, missions and dialogues and cutscenes incorporated into it. It will be a very complete gameplay experience, uh, where it's all going to be available on mobile, on Google Play and iOS, coming real soon. But as for the exact date, I have to tease a bit here, because my co-founder will destroy me if he knows I leak the date out before we do the official announcements and pre-registrations and everything.
So no worries. I mean, you have already given the alpha that it you can expect around this quarter, not this quarter. This quarter is not so far from closing out, and then even if not, early next quarter is also still a window that the community can
Hmm.
expect. So thank you for giving that alpha. We are grateful for that. While I was digging in, I had a look at the tokens and the utilities. So APRS being the main token, and then there is Anima, there is Singularity, Regularity. So
Hmm.
could you please walk us through the utility of the token and sorry, excuse me. Could you please walk us through the utilities
That's
of these tokens and so on? Why do you have these tokens in play? What do these play?
okay.
How do they play a role in this whole ecosystem?
Sure. So as I said in the very beginning, the reason we pivoted into Web3 is after we studied Axie Infinity. So we believe that dual token model is actually very interesting. That's what the two tokens that we're going to focus on right now. There's APRS and Anima. APRS is much like AXS in Axie Infinity, while Anima functions much like SLP. One is the core ecosystem governance token, and the other one is a game utility token, both of which have in-game features, but their very core usage is actually breeding. We think breeding is actually a very powerful tool for both tokens and NFTs. Of course, there's a lot of lessons to be learned witnessing the rise and fall of Axie Infinity and how they stabilized nowadays. And we intend to improve upon that. Of course, there's also a huge other amount of utility in the game, where APRS functions as more of a premium in-game currency, allowing for upgrades that allows permanent progression across all accounts. And then there's also staking functions available on our marketplace with APRS. While Anima is more of the in-game utility token, where you can upgrade within each roguelike run, improve your NFTs on the marketplace, such as aging, such as apostles merging. So there's 2 tokens, and while APRS is a limited supply, and most of the people can only obtain it either by buying it off the marketplace or by ranking in the higher tiers in the arenas per season. Anima is the more accessible token that's actually launching on the 21st, and every player can actually be able to obtain it on a daily basis by winning, which is the core economy. The battle system of Apeiron functions more like a daily win-to-earn system, and by spending the stamina that you have daily, you'll be able to obtain this anima token. The third token will come further down the line, but we always imagined that when we design the game, especially a game as complex as Apeiron, there's the single-player experience, there's arena battle experience, but then one of the major things that really extends a game's life cycle and complexity is multiplayer, giant guild-based content that also involves a lot of other different gameplay elements, not just the card game simulation or not just the card-based battle that you see right now. It's going to be a giant guild-based battle that spans across the entire Godverse that we created. It's quite a interesting new gameplay element that involves massive multiplayers, and we think having a third token deal with this sort of gameplay is essential because we need different tokens for different types of functions in the game and in the ecosystem. Instead of bunching them all up into the same few tokens, I think it may be better if we create a third premium currency for like an alliance token, which is present in a lot of other existing games. Of course, this is all a lot in conjecture. We will still be focusing on trying to balance the first 2 tokens first, recreating the success of Axie Infinity and even more. Whether we should go for the final third token will still be decided as we gain more battle experience. But from what we see right now, it is still very much an idea and a system that we would like to entertain. But it all comes down to what we battle test with our stats and how the community reacts and how our investors think that the markets will be like. But I think this is the essence of Web3. By prototyping new designs and economies, we can test in a very rapid iteration different types of game economies and mechanisms. I think it's still a very early time, and as long as we stay close with our community and maintain the transparency, we will manage to find the right balance or the right way forward to create the ideal and sustainable gaming economy.
That's wonderful. I mean, thanks for walking us through the token economy for the viewers. I mean, that's wonderful. Coming directly from the creator's mouth is always nice rather than reading through all the white paper stuff. So thanks for giving us that wonderful piece of information. And then and while researching, while digging about Apeiron and the community, I saw that you have one of the biggest communities, right? And you also host the open beta events. So could you please walk us through how you manage such a vibrant community, and then walk us through these events, either virtual events or IRLs that you always do for the community?
Sure. I spent a lot of time gaming when I was young. So even back then, I always dwell within the communities. And in the good old days, there was always Ventrilo, even before Discord. And when you are so deeply involved with the game, the community is also a second home where you dwell and interact with other players. And it extends beyond the current game you're playing. And that is something that I always envision our community to be, not just a hub, one information dump or a place that people just talk about this game, but more really like maintaining friendships and can be a day-to-day part of our lives. But anyway, how we built our community in two phases. In the very beginning, uh, because it was right after Lunar, so it was the bear market. A lot of the traditional marketing strategy didn't work. We went for a lot of ads, different types of campaigns, but the cost effectiveness of these campaigns more often than not is not good during the bear market. So we went for the more grassroots efforts, and we went to do AMAs, pitches, probably on 4 to 5 times a week or more, and we tried to garner users one by one. And then we also did a lot of different game nights. We had a lot of different types of hobby programs and ambassador programs to keep the users engaged. And we built a very core following in the beginning, since the first mints, and much of them are still here. And thanks to them, we are able to develop and test our early builds. But the second explosion, or the real explosion, came when we went to Ronin, when such a experienced, veteran Web3 community participates that knows how to engage and broadcast and give feedback. And then it's also came at a time when the market rebounded last year in December. So everything again got pretty crazy and lucky there. And with the success of Ronin, Apeiron came next. And the unique positioning of Apeiron is also quite interesting, because compared with Pixels, which is probably one of the most hyper-casual and Web3 oriented game, comes Apeiron, a very mainstream targeted game with very mid-core and or even hardcore playstyles, because there's only the arena available now. It offers a very unique variation in the Ronin network. And with the help of Sky Mavis and their very professional team, we managed to grow at an extremely fast pace. We are still growing at about 30% per month. And with the coming Guild Wars, which is $1 million prize pool reward, even in these uncertain times, we expect another wave of growth. And then finally, it would arrive at the launch. And so we'll continue to do so and explore what we can do along the way. And I guess that the key with which we build our community is to just stay really, really close to the ground and play our own game, talk to our communities, make sure that we can answer best we can, and make sure that the expectations are properly managed as we release each phase of our development.
Well, it's so amazing. I mean, giving such a really good cash pool price at this point in time, because now the market is still not up, right? I mean, the market is still
Yeah,
choppy,
I
uncertain.
actually had a conversation with some of the content creators and some other projects, and before announcing this prize pool, and actually a majority of them say that these are not good times to release such a large prize pool, because for one, the markets are choppy, people are quite scattered, and second, I think a lot of people are rather exhausted from the wealth of all these airdrop points grinding projects here and there, and it may not be ideal, especially to announce these times. And most of them recommended just do smaller events and then maintain it until the right timing comes, which, well, it's very important to partner your main events and launches or prize pools during the bull market, they say. But to me, as we approach the official launch, we are not just targeting the Web3 markets. There is, of course, the development pipeline that we hope to stick close to. And with it also comes a lot of preparations and different features and events that we need to keep shipping, whether the markets are good or not, because we want to target the mainstream markets, and there are a few key dates and events that we must hit. And we believe with the appeal and the quality of Apeiron, we are very much poised to enter the mainstream. And I think it's also an interesting angle to go for, because when the markets are at the bottom or in the bear markets, actually these are the times when the real users, even on Web3, the core users that truly believe in the product and not just speculative natures are here, and they will be watching. And we need these crowds. We want them to know that there are projects out there that's not just riding the speculative waves, but really trying to go out there and tell someone that there's an actual product and a team that's dedicated to keep shipping and pushing no matter what the times are, because there really is something else out there beyond the speculative nature of Web3. Wouldn't say this is the ideal thing, but again, I think Web3 is a place where a lot of testings and opportunities can be had, and I would like to maintain that philosophy and see what we can do over there. At least, even if the times are not right and we couldn't reach a massive audience, it will also be a good time to reward those who have been staying close to us, and there's a lot of users out there right now that plays Apeiron and lives Apeiron, and wouldn't hurt to reward them further. So yeah.
Hey, that's wonderful. That's wonderful from the creator and also the team to also care about the community and also be willing to spend in this market, right? I mean, as you said, a lot of projects they are skeptical about the market being choppy, being way beyond. But then the way you take care of the community, and then one thing that you pointed out rightly is those who stay even in the bear market are the players that are here for the space, right? I mean, that are here for the Web3 as such. So that's wonderfully thought through and amazing work. So yeah, launch is coming up, right? We are hearing about anima and regularity and all these stuffs. So what next? What we can expect from Apeiron team before end of this year? Let's say we have a couple more quarters, and then what after 2024? What we can expect in the rest of the quarters this year and also in 2025 and beyond?
Sure. Well, leading to the game launch, of course, there's also a major testing that's coming. Other than the new token and the Guild Wars leaderboard coming up on the 21st, our NFT holders will also be able to playtest the new and upgraded version of our PvE single-player dungeon on the 26th. Of course, if you download and play Apeiron right now, there's a flimsy tutorial, and then you're thrown straight into the lion's den of the arena PvP, which is not the usual gaming experience. The official gaming experience is actually you go through a proper tutorial and the stories, and then into the single-player dungeon where you learn the cards one by one before we unlock the arenas. That would be the official launch that's coming. But after that official launch actually comes the road shows and the events. Right after the official launch, we plan to host a finals tournament and a launch event in Hong Kong where we invite the top 4 teams from around the world, 2 teams from Americas, 2 teams in Asia, to compete in real life and sort of like an esport-like event to celebrate. And then there's the Tokyo Game Show, which we are hunting for a larger booth because we want to go for the mainstream audiences. We'll also make our presence known in a lot of the Web3 expos and exhibitions, and also the other larger Web2 and esports gaming exhibitions throughout the rest of the year. But of course, what we're targeting for at the end of the year is the main launch of the official God game, where you literally really play God and play around with the planets. That's where we hope to target for the full launch, and also the beginning of our animation series. There'll be pilots, there'll be trailers, both from a TV series angle and a movie angle. And that's when we really transform Apeiron from not just a game, but into a full-fledged gaming franchise with stories, with animations, with more merchandise and comics. We'll integrate the community and the ability for them to own part of this franchise together. That's when we'll go for the Series A early next year. And beyond that, it would be growing the franchise further, extending the guild gameplay, the third token into the fold, and continuing improving Apeiron and realizing the full vision of what we've been preparing over the past 8 years for, to turn Apeiron into hopefully the biggest gaming franchise that incorporates not just blockchain but also AI into the solution.
Good. That's wonderful. I mean, that's exciting to hear, and I'm sure both Apeiron communities and bitsCrunch community who are listening to this is really excited about what you guys are building. And I really wish you all the very best and good luck for whatever you are all set to do in this year and rest of the years. And just before you leave, we will have a quick couple of rapid fire questions just to see the other side of Frank as a person.
Sure.
Oh, you're up for it. Yes. Cool. So, what's your favorite city and why?
My favorite city would have to be Hong Kong. I was born and raised here. I did spend around 8 years in the States and around the Midwest. But Hong Kong is where my heart is, and I really hope that I can help Hong Kong thrive. This is actually a very core part of our company mission. There's a lot of places where game development can take place. But Hong Kong is actually traditional or rather expensive place to do original development. But for me, it is also the only place in Asia that I can find the right amount of crazy talent to venture into something as daring as Apeiron. And I think I'm right, because over the past 8 years, as I garnered this team, I managed to get quite a certain amount of talent to put together my dream. This very unique gameplay, this very unique art and story doesn't come easy, but the world has gave us a really big green light with the fundraising, with the reception, and we hope what we do can present the very first international IP project originating from Hong Kong to showcase what this unique city is like, other than just a financial and real estate center, of course. And with crypto coming into the scene, into the play in the world, I think Hong Kong also holds a very critical and unique position. I see a lot of new teams coming back, or old teams coming back, and the new teams arriving these days. And the crypto scene around Hong Kong should evolve. And being part of that scene and the digital creative entertainment side, I really hope to do my part for the city. And then it's my hometown. And if you guys ever visit Hong Kong, just hit me up, and I can show you around the office and also around Hong Kong.
For sure. Thanks for the live invitation on the live podcast. That's so nice of you. So moving on to the next one, what's your favorite activity? Any hobbies? Any favorite physical activity you would like to mention here?
No, my wife is sleeping, so I can say this. It would be drinking, but it's more like drinking games. I have a love for games, any type of games, especially competitive games, and drinking games is actually one of them. I actually do a monthly drinks with my community online in Discord, and having a lot of them get really drunk, including myself. But it's a fun pastime, and I guess that's also the Chinese part of me that loves drinking and playing games, and yeah, I had a little of that during my early career before game development. Don't have much of that after entering games development. The traditional game developers in China and Hong Kong are introverts, and they're not exactly drinkers. So some fun times, people in the community, and also, well, right now in the expos and as we venture out to more of these exhibitions, I have more opportunity. So yeah, that would be the other activity that I'm happy about.
Then I guess now it's my turn to invite you to Oktoberfest, because I live in Munich. So now it's time for you to fly over to Munich to probably have a couple of beers and chit chat and eat some German pretzels.
That's great.
Yeah. So, who is your inspiration in the space, be it Web3 or Web2? Who is your inspiration, Frank?
Um, well, I have to be pretty traditional here. My biggest inspiration actually is my mother. She's quite a woman. She worked in she is quite an influential and powerful woman that worked many great jobs in great companies. She's one of the great and best CEOs I've seen. Extremely hardworking and very unique management styles that she had, and she's pretty much my mentor much of my life as I entered college and weathered through the jobs from very well financial and top management fields, and now as an entrepreneur, she also gives me still very valuable advice and how to handle different types of people in the field, and still learning, and trying to apply what she has learned, have educated me over all these years.
Well, that's so lovely, all right? I mean, inspiring from mother, and then I can see a lot of qualities in you already, right? I mean, sitting in a pod, recording after midnight. I assume now it is 1 a.m. in the midnight, right? So
Oh,
that shows the commitment and the hustling nature that you carry from your mother. So all I can say is Apeiron is in good hands, right? I have myself today, and the community, the crunchers and the Apeiron community has also seen it live and in the pod. So thanks again, Frank. Thanks for taking up time and in the middle of the night to be on this pod. And it was lovely chatting with you from the struggles, the highlights, and the try token ecosystem, and a lot more achievements, a lot more things that are coming up. So thanks for sharing it on the Web3 Wisdom podcast. Would love to have you again sometime in the future. And any parting thoughts, any advices, any parting thoughts for the community?
so first up, thank you, VJ, for inviting me on this podcast. Thank you, the Wisdom and bitsCrunch community, for giving me the opportunity. Final words, as with all users as well, give Apeiron a try. Our game is available on Epic Game Store right now. Download it, play it, see if it's a cup of tea. If it is, or if you're getting extremely confused but still interested, jump to our Discord community, where you'll find a lot of people streaming, a lot of helpful dudes there to guide you and help you along the way. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm almost always available around Discord. Just tag Lawkeeper and you'll find me. And yeah, well, good luck out there, and hope to see you all inside the game.
Yep,
Oh, and
awesome. I'll be jumping into it right away after this pod. So
cool.
thanks for that. And yeah, looking forward. Keep building, keep building, and keep inspiring a lot of people, not just from Hong Kong, but all over the world. And thanks
Hopefully.
again for taking your time.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot.
Thank you. Have a good one.